Smoke and Mirrors, Short Fictions and Delusions, by Neil Gaiman. Notes read by the author. That's me. But where there's a monster, there's a miracle. Ogden Nash. Dragons are too seldom. Reading the Entrails, a Rondell. I mean, she said, that one can't help growing older. One can't, perhaps, said Humpty Dumpty. But two can. With proper assistance, you might have left off at 7. Lewis Carroll, Through the Looking Glass. They'll call it chance, or luck, or call it fate. The cards and stars that tumble as they will. Tomorrow manifests and brings the bill for every kiss and kill, the small and great. You want to know the future, love? Then wait. I'll answer your impatient questions. Still, they'll call it chance or luck or call it fate. The cards and stars that tumble as they will. I'll come to you tonight, dear, when it's late. You will not see me. You may feel a chill. I'll wait until you sleep, then take my fill, and that will be your future on a plate. I'll call it chance or luck, or call it fate. An introduction. Writing is flying in dreams. When you remember, when you can, when it works. It's that easy. Author's Notebook, February 1992. They do it with mirrors. It's a cliche, of course, but it's also true. Magicians have been using mirrors, usually set at 45-degree angles, ever since the Victorians began to manufacture reliable, clear mirrors in quantity well over 100 years ago. John Neville Maskelyne began it in 1862 with a wardrobe that, thanks to a cunningly placed mirror, concealed more than it revealed. Mirrors are wonderful things. They appear to tell the truth, to reflect life back out at us, but set a mirror correctly, and it will lie so convincingly you'll believe that something has vanished into thin air, that a box filled with doves and flags and spiders is actually empty, that people hidden in the wings or the pit are floating ghosts upon the stage. Angle it right, and a mirror becomes a magic casement. It can show you anything you can imagine, and maybe a few things you can't. The smoke blurs the edges of things. Stories are, in one way or another, mirrors. We use them to explain to ourselves how the world works or how it doesn't work. Like mirrors, stories prepare us for the day to come. They distract us from the things in the darkness. Fantasy, and all fiction is fantasy of one kind or another, is a mirror. A distorting mirror, to be sure, and a concealing mirror set at 45 degrees to reality. But it's a mirror, nonetheless, which we can use to tell ourselves things we might not otherwise see. Fairy tales, as G.K. Chesterton once said, are more than true, not because they tell us that dragons exist, but because they tell us that dragons can be defeated. Winter started today. The sky turned grey and the snow began to fall, and it did not stop falling until well after dark. We sat in the darkness and watched the snow falling, and the flakes glistened and glimmered as they spun into the light and out again. And I wondered about where stories came from. This is the kind of thing that you wonder about when you make things up for a living. I remain unconvinced that it is the kind of activity that is a fit occupation for an adult, but it's too late now. I seem to have a career that I enjoy, which doesn't involve getting up too early in the morning. When I was a child, adults would tell me not to make things up, warning me of what would happen if I did. As far as I can tell so far, it seems to involve lots of foreign travel and not having to get up too early in the morning. Most of the stories in this book were written to entertain the various editors who had asked me for tales for specific anthologies. It's for an anthology of stories about the Holy Grail, about sex, of fairy stories retold for adults, about sex and horror, of revenge stories, about superstition, about more sex. A few of them were written to amuse myself, or more precisely to get an idea or an image out of my head and pinned safely down on paper, which is as good a reason for writing as I know. Releasing demons, letting them fly. Some of the stories began in idleness, fancies and curiosities that got out of hand.